Hello again, I'm Tripp Rogers, and this is Tripp's Take. Well, of course, it is the week of the Super Bowl, and everybody's getting excited about the game. Listen, if you're a fan of Kansas City or a fan of San Francisco, you've got more of a reason. I got to tell you, being in the Super Bowl is such a thrill for your team. And luckily, I have gone through it 5 times in my life. Although, before that first giant win in 1986, I never thought my team would get to the Super Bowl. I mean, the Super Bowl had played since 1967, and then the Giants were dismal at that time. And the fact that they made it in 87 and won that championship that was special. I always remember it. I don't remember where I was. Of course, the wide right in 1991. I remember that well. I was down in Tampa the week before the game. So I was at the stadium. I knew about that. I had gone and visited a friend. And then 2001 was great to get there because we beat the Vikings, but that Super Bowl was awful. I mean, the Giants played terribly, and losing a Super Bowl kind of stinks. But then the Giants, of course, beat the Patriots in 2007 and 2012. Or 2008, 2012. And they were special. And I remember saying to my daughter in 2008, I said, this is a special time, and you're not going to have this again. You don't get this all the time. I mean, the New England Patriots were the closest thing to a dynasty in the last 20 years or so, but they didn't win every Super Bowl. And, that's the other side of it, really. But it is special when your team gets there, and it's a special week. And, I say, I having participated in the Super Bowl and having, when I say participated, I covered it. I was there in 2005 with the Philadelphia Eagles, and it was unique. It was interesting. I learned a lot of things that week on Radio Row. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed myself. And again, it's exciting, but I don't know if I'd want to cover the Super Bowl again. I don't even know if I really would want to go. Again, if the Giants are there, I would want to go to the Super Bowl. But I don't think I'd want to go if the Giants weren't there. But then again, you never know what's going to happen in your life. But the Super Bowl is Sunday. I think the thing I enjoy the commercials. I love the commercials in the Super Bowl. And I've done the USA Today ad meter, I think, ever since they opened it up to the public. I've been on it. I think they've done it 10 years or thereabouts, and I've done it every year because I love that. I love being on that ad meter thing. It's great, and it's a lot of fun. And then the commercials are what make. But, Super Bowl, it's time to party. And I will say one thing. My fiance, every year, Super Bowl, we're always picking out, and she does a great job. She knows how to roll with a Super Bowl party. This year we're going to friends, and so it'll be fun. But again, the Super Bowl is people are saying national holiday and stuff, and I go with the theory that the NFL is going to add another game to their season. They'll go to 18 weeks. They'll go to an 18-game season, and they'll add another week to the season, and there'll be one bye. And that moves the Super Bowl to, you guessed it, President's Day weekend. And that way, Monday is a holiday, and business owners will not have to deal with the hangovers and the call-outs and everything in the day after the Super Bowl. And again, I think that's probably what is going to happen. You're going to see that. Of course, the question then I have is, what is the NBA going to do? Because their All-Star game is normally President's Weekend. And the NASCAR season kicks off with their first race of the year, and that's usually on President's Weekend. So, but again, I think we're a couple years away from that because they'd have to get the Players Association to agree. Super Bowl Sunday, though, of course, it starts really early. There is a program I'm looking forward to on the Super Bowl pregame. On CBS, they're going to do a look back at the NFL today, and they're going to talk to those guys who've hosted it. And of course, being a real fan of sportscasters and having been one myself, I really am looking forward to that. I also, there was a book about the beginning of the NFL today, and it was written by Rich Podlarski, I should say. You can find it on all the different services, and it's a really good book. And it talks about, Brett Musburger, Irv Cross, Phyllis George, and then Jimmy the Greek join them. It's really that. I'm looking forward to that. That is what I'm looking forward to on Sunday. All right, Super Bowl. All right, I guess I got to lay some picks on you. The Fantasy Sultan Hall of Famer Mike Sheck and I did this, and so I if you saw our Sultans podcast, then you already know what my pick is. But the 49ers are a 1.5-point choice. My problem with the 49ers is Brock Purdy. Yes, he did have that touchdown drive in the divisional game, but I am not sold on him in this stage in a Super Bowl. One of the things that I was told, and this was back in 2005 by John Ritchie, and he said the Super Bowl is a different game than any others. You're on the field longer with the national anthem and all the pregame ceremonies and stuff like that. And the team that can manage that and can handle their emotions is the one that will win in the end. And I just question Brock Purdy. I mean, I know he's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. But I just question whether or not he's ready for this big stage. The other thing is Kyle Shanahan. I mean, good coach. Don't get me wrong. But Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons. They're up 28-3 against the Patriots. That second half was something we'd like to erase. And he was also the head coach when they played in the Super Bowl 4 years ago, and they lost. And again, they lost the lead. I just think Kansas City is hitting on all cylinders. I think they've got the experience. There's a reason why they're the defending Super Bowl champs. I think they win this game. And I said I'll go 28-20. I think they win this game. I think there'll be a late touchdown. I think it'll be rather easy road for Kansas City. It was funny because I was like, there's all kinds of prop bets, how long the national anthem is going to be and that kind of thing and stuff. I would love to get on a prop bet. Will Kadarius Toney touch the ball? I mean, I don't know, and I'm a Giants fan, so it just ripped my heart out. So that is Tripp's take for February the 8th. Oh, before I wrap up, also, February the 8th is the day that the British invasion of music started. Ed Sullivan Show, 1964, the Beatles. Oh, yeah, it's a special date, February 8th, 60 years ago. Can't believe it. That is Tripp's Take for February the 8th, 2024. Love to hear your comments and questions about the podcast. Just email trippstake@gmail.com. Fantasy football players, our final show for the 2023 season is in the can. You can catch that, the Fantasy Sultans of the Hall of Famer Mike Sheck and yours truly. You can find that on Spotify for podcasters and also on YouTube. Just search for Fantasy Sultans. If you like the music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, hey, listen to WTRSradio.com online. Join me again next week. For now, I am Tripp Rogers. Thanks for listening and watching, and make it a great one.